Hi, I'm Lara Heimann. I'm a physical therapist and a yoga teacher and the creator of the Lit Yoga Method, where we blend physical therapy and yoga, bringing the mindfulness of yoga with the intelligence of physical therapy. I want to offer you a little tip for your day, any day, for your posture. So this is a posture check-in. A lot of people think of posture as being upright, like military style, but I'd like you to think of posture as the carriage of your energy. So how you're holding yourself in space, whether you're sitting or standing, and then eventually in moving, really is important in terms of your alignment, your energy exchange, how you breathe. And that all comes from your posture. So biomechanically, your posture is when you are the most aligned, your spine is in a stacked position, maintaining its natural curves. And that includes the skull at the top. So think about your skull. Where is it right now? Is your head forward from looking at your computer or down at your phone? How do you best get your head back in space to just be upright, balanced on top of the spine? And then at the bottom of the spine, we have the pelvis, which is like the bowl that the spine comes from. What is the pelvis doing? Is it tipped one way or another? Because that impacts the spine as well. So your posture is the axial skeleton, meaning this skeleton of your spine, of your rib cage, and that also includes your skull. And that meets your appendicular skeleton, which is your limbs. And when your axial skeleton is more aligned, you're going to move better in your limbs, you're going to feel better, you're going to breathe better, and you're going to hold on to that energy even when you are in a more stationary position. So if you're sitting right now, whether you're in the car or at a desk, try and bring your shoulder blades, otherwise known as your scapula, to touch the back of your chair. And then see if you can scooch your lower back, the sacrum, which is beneath the lumbar spine, but above your tailbone. So if you think of the area above your crack, that's your sacrum. It's this fused area of the lowest part of your spine. So if you can get your scapula or shoulder blades to touch the back of your chair, and then the sacrum to touch some back of the chair, then you're already more upright. The final piece is your skull. So if you are in a car, you can move your skull back until it touches the car seat or the car, the headrest. Sometimes the headrest actually jut your head forward, so you might need to rearrange the headrest after you've been driving. Don't do it while you're driving. But you want to feel that head move back in space. So if you drew a line down from the top of your head all the way to your pelvis, it's essentially one long vertical line. And then even in sitting, can you imagine hugging your spine, hugging the muscles around the spine and getting it lift upward toward your head? And this has an energetic component to it. So I hope when you do that, you can feel your deeper abdominals get a little bit of energy there. And then the lower front ribs just pull down like you have suspenders between your lower ribs and your pelvis, just pulling them down and then breathing and moving that energy into your back ribs, into your scapula area. That energy of hugging the spine and getting that upward lift as you have some stability in your front ribs is really the optimal alignment for your biomechanical skeleton. So the skeleton itself, the alignment itself. Now, if you're standing, or whenever you are able to stand, try this. Go against a wall. Put the back of your skull against the wall without lifting your chin, and then try and get the scapula also on the wall. Again, the scapula are your shoulder blades. And then with the feet a little bit away from the wall, see if you can get that sacrum, that fused lower part of your spine, to also meet the wall. Your knees can be bent. And then do the same thing. Imagine a hug around the spine. Imagine a current of energy coming up from the pelvis into the spine, all the way up into the skull. So you're growing your spine without changing your position. And this might feel awkward. It might even feel like you can't connect those 3 points. Whatever point is harder to get to the wall is probably the area that has restriction around it. And for a lot of people, that again is the skull. Because if the head is in a forward position, that means the skull has slid forward on that top cervical vertebra. And so we need to get it back in space. But getting it back in space can feel like a struggle because all those muscles at the very back of your neck, where they meet the skull, are tight. They get tight from holding that head in that forward position. So breathe into them and just imagine that they are going to relinquish that hold a little bit. When you are standing away from the wall, you can put your hand behind your head and move your head back into your hand while you're also lengthening up through the spine. So you're growing that spine long, almost like you're uncorking your head. If you think of like a little Pez container, you're trying to pull the head up away from the rest of the spine. And that can help with that tension around your neck. The final place to try your posture realignment, and you're also re-educating yourself because we're using tactile cues with all three of these, and sitting and standing, and this final one is lying on the ground. And this can be the easiest. You lie on the ground, your legs are out, but they're also not just flopping. So don't think Shavasana, think of more an active Shavasana. Your legs are straight out, your arms are straight out. And then you can also bend your knees and have your feet flat on the floor if that feels like you can't get your head on the floor without doing that. Bending the knees and putting them on the floor just gives your back line, your back fascia, which is this kind of cloth-like tissue that goes all across your back into the neck and over the skull. It gives a little bit of a relief from being stretched with the legs straight out. So either position, because we're focusing again on those 3 points. Can you feel the back of your skull on the ground? If your chin is jutting up and you can't get the skull to be balanced, then put a towel under your skull so your chin can just drop down with ease toward your throat. And then can you feel your shoulder blades, your scapula on the floor? And then finally the sacrum. And even here, with the floor supporting you, can you get that energetic hug, that feeling of hugging the spine and then lifting energy up to the top of your head? So these 3 positions are a great way to start retraining a better posture. And that better posture sets you up for better movement. And better means easier, with more ease, with more efficiency. You hold on to more of your energy. You can breathe better. You're also preventing some of that tightness around your neck or your low back when your posture is in this more balanced position. So I hope this helps. Keep at it. And you can look up more about me on lityoga.com.